Rightio. Continue on.
No, you're going to ask the question.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose stage 4. Well, we're talking about the manuals, the first manual in Australia, the Victorian.
So when we'd been writing them for internal, and then it became obvious that, so the old, what was it called back in those days? Local Government Engineers Association.
Yeah.
I talked them into us producing a manual, which was the very first one. And when was that? That was 93.
Yeah, it's 93.
And they agreed. And really, in the finish, we then did the next one in 95, which was the real hook to get New Zealand going again, really. And so, well, I think without a doubt, it was the right decision to always involve the good institutions who were supporting asset, or interested in asset management. And we really did that right through. But and then it just became so big globally, it just took off. Yeah. But all those manuals, and especially the International Infrastructure Management Manuals. So 2000, that one came out, and that was basically all GHD. And then as we went on and on to that, we became really the editors of the next versions. But that I still am very proud of all that and everything that everybody did to put into that.
Oh, but look, I mean, that was the big thing that started to make things happen.
I think that all came. It was really interesting because my father was a methods engineer, and he always used to talk to me about quality.
Yep.
And so I went off at some stage and did this quality framework course, and it was really orientated towards sort of ISO type stuff, but it suddenly dawned on me, hey, this is the way to go, so starting to build that quality framework and, the total enterprise asset management, team QF, that really became the basis of how we could work, because then you could assess people properly, you could get the right understanding, really know what the gaps were, and especially because we work so well with so many clients, them saying this has really delivered us this benefit, whereas that doing that wasn't anywhere near as big a benefit, so being able to understand the business value chain that each of those gap closures really offered people, and you could tailor it to suit the problems with their portfolios. If they were young or they were old or they were middle-lived or whatever you could do, you could adjust the thing to suit. And that was really fabulous to get that quality framework going.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I suppose, you were traveling that much, and yet, we used to have a running joke in the office. On the Monday morning, our in trays would be full, even though we'd emptied them the previous Friday. And Roger's been here. It was like he just rushed in the door, threw it all in the air, and it all landed in our in trays, and off you went again. So there was all that effort going on.
And the only way that all that worked was that, I might have had a vision, but bloody hell, so many people like you and others. I was just sort of sitting there thinking like that the other day, and so if I go back to Ross McPherson, and then Sue Pridmore came along because I wanted someone who understood buildings.
Yep.
And then, David Schultz came in because he was much more orientated to cultural change and those sort of things, And then working a lot with Dave Lennox and the boys up in Newcastle on the maintenance side to be able to really tie those bits together.
Yeah.
It was really great, And then, of course, There was Brendan Marshall, going to the US with me.
Yep.
That was the same sort of thing. And then all of a sudden you opened up these people in the US, and of course what was happening up in Newcastle was boys going towards the internet type approaches.
Yep.
And so, the early version of Ample that we did for Brisbane City Council was sort of like light years ahead of anything that's out there now. It's just quite amazing. And Ample and the one that the US CPA have got, they've now got something like 15,000 users on that.
Yeah.
And they've the number of people who've been trained through the learning experience part, the Tom's Bad Day, and people have adapted that now for roads and buildings and drainage and every type of asset, and it's a really great way to get a new client or an organisation who's just getting into asset management, really getting enough of the staff trained up to do it, But none of that could have happened. All the stuff that's happened, I often despise people who say, I did this, I did that. It was always just a wonderful team effort, because someone like Ross McPherson or you would say, I've just been dealing with this client and this happened and this happened. And the other side of that is we had great clients.
Yeah.
Those clients were as eager to learn and to progress the whole process as we were. So, I go back, John Howard, getting us in there to Devonport and then Launceston, Peter Way up in Queensland, and all these people ended up spending the rest of their life in asset management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I think back of all the implementations of TUMS I did. The Total Utilities Maintenance Management System.
Yeah,
there was well over, I think there was about 60 in the end that we were involved in implementing, and then all the GHC software that we implemented. And there's about 100 of those floating around.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, and really it was sort of sad, but it had to happen. We got to a point where you either are a consultant or a software seller.
Yeah.
And I often used to say to everyone, at some stage we're going to have to separate these two things, But the bit that's so important, I've got, if I go globally, there's very few people who've got decent maintenance management systems, and especially works management. So they might have a maintenance management system, but they can't link it to who should work, what skills the person needs to do the job, what vehicle they need, and what spare parts they should have with them. All that sort of thing is where the efficiency comes. But instead what people do is they don't maintain, they let the damn thing fail, and then they have this mad rush to try and get it back into service. And it's just, I get really sad to think how little progress on that side of things, Sandy, has been made.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I had discussions with a client last week. They don't even have a road register.
Yeah. Oh, God.
How long have we been in the game? 40 odd years.
Well, if you think, let's just talk about New Zealand at the moment.
New Zealand.
So it was really the New Zealand water industry that started talking to me, and I went over there, but I'd learnt enough that you don't just talk to a couple of key clients. So I went and I visited their treasury, the finance ministry, and the auditor general. And I floated the concept of this. If you want to do this properly, you've got to do it like this, and you've got to do it nationally.
Yep.
You can't just let it be done by Auckland Water or the big guys, and then the little guys just fall off the edge. So in the finish, that was 74 water authorities in New Zealand, and they formed PAMS, which was Pipeline Asset Management System.
Yeah.
And if you remember, we bought we bought Hanson's product, didn't we? And the hierarchical structure was all the work that we'd done, and they built all that, and they ended up producing asset management plans in water and sewer in New Zealand just brilliantly, and everybody was doing it. I mean, that was, you know, think of the 74, 60 completed it perfectly, you know. And the beautiful bit was they were teaching each other.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't the fact that I can't understand what you're talking about. You know, it was because it had all that good base quality framework approach, and then this is how you do it, and this is how you use that software. You know, it became really good, and of course, it immediately created the thing. Well, that's only one group of assets. What about all the other assets we own? You know?
Yeah, it became infectious, I think.
Yeah.
And it multiplied out. I mean, they've started with what? It was you and me at the beginning,
Yeah.
and Bond, if we could get him.
Yeah.
And then it just branched out from there, and then the clients got involved, and then they grew it. And like
Yeah.
now they're looking after the manual, the international manual. They should be
That's
doing
right. Yeah. Well, that really ended up, yeah, the equivalent of LGEA.
Yeah.
So LGEA was changing to become Institute of Public Works Engineers, and over in New Zealand they'd already done that. So it really started. You know, it was really good. And now, of course, it's one body for both countries, isn't it? So quite amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And you know, see it happen. I mean, once it got rolling, it never stopped. And now look at it globally.
Yeah.
We've now got the standard, the ISO 55,000, 1, 2, 3, and whatever else.
That's right.
So the world's working towards that. And
Yeah, that's right.
enjoyed this video, press the like button and subscribe. If you'd like to see more, please click on the Patreon link below and sign up.